Welcome to a Beast Game podcast. Today we're looking at Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It's directed by Gareth Edwards. He has done Monsters and 2014's Godzilla. It's written by Chris Witz, Tony Gilroy, John Knoll, and Gary Whitta. Chris Witz has done About a Boy and 2015's Cinderella. Tony Gilroy has done the Bourne series. This is Knoll's first writing credit. Gary Whitta's mostly known for video games and has done The Book of Eli and After Earth with Will Smith. It's based on characters by George Lucas. It stars Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso, Diego Luna as Cassian Andor, Donnie Yen, and Mads Mikkelsen. Jones has been in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and The Theory of Everything. Diego Luna has been in Milk, Contraband, and Elysium. Donnie Yen, who is a great martial artist, has been in the Ip Man series. And Mads Mikkelsen has been in Casino Royale, the Hannibal TV series, and Doctor Strange. Synopsis. The Rebel Alliance makes a risky move to steal the plans for the Death Star, setting up the epic saga to follow. A quick summary. The movie starts off with an Imperial shuttle descending to a planet. It sets off alarms for Mads Mikkelsen's character. He tries to get his wife and daughter safely away. You see some Imperial guards confront Mads Mikkelsen's character. His wife shows up to intervene, but is shot. His daughter escapes, and that's where we're going to stop. And there will be spoilers, so we're just going to go ahead and... Okay.
Go ahead, James.
As a Star Wars fan, I was disappointed in this movie. My overall impression of this movie, to me, keep it real, it sucked. I did not enjoy it. I fell asleep. I was nodding off the first 20 minutes of the movie. Like, I understand what they were trying to do. They tried to make this a little dark Star Wars film. They were trying to make The Empire Strikes Back just for the rebel side. That's all it was. It was a war movie, which is fine. I mean, but there was a certain parts of it that was just cheesy and it was just useless. Like, for example, I like Donnie Yen's character. I liked his character. But then there was also a fucking stereotype. And Barry, you called it before we even watched the fucking movie. When we found out that Donnie Yen was going to be in this, you were saying that he going to be some type of Confucius-ass character. And that's exactly what the fuck he was. All preaching and shit.
Going into this movie, they started the whole movie off on a different note, on a different tone, trying to do something different.
Right.
Every type thing they did differently from a classic Star Wars movies that we've seen, even Episode 7, that shit show, even Episode 7, it just started going off on this different little tangent. And first of all, I didn't get to the roll-up scene with the explaining where the story was. I mean, that's Star Wars.
Yeah, that's
Star Wars.
No rolling credits, no nothing. It's like that. They do that to give you a precursor to set you up to what the fuck is going on.
Exactly. And then I'm not even going to talk about Donnie Yen's character just yet. I'm just going to say my overall impression. My overall impression was that this fucking movie was a disappointment up until only when these guys let their inner fanboy out. And I'm going to tell you right now, when Darth Vader came up on the screen, that was when the elevated a point. Every time he came on the scene. But even then, when they had Darth Vader come on the screen, the first thing I noticed about Darth Vader was his giant fucking helmet. They could not find a helmet to fit this dude right. His fucking helmet was huge. I'm like, what?
It's like the Spaceballs helmet.
Was talking, saying his lines, and I'm just like, yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
And then at the very end, it was like, yes. And it was like every time they deviated and tried to erase what George Lucas did, they fucked up. And when he embraced it, that's when the movie started shining. So everything they changed, everything they did differently, they didn't like about whatever the original script was, the original direction of the film. When they changed it and tried to make it lighthearted and try to make it more in line with what they were doing, what they were going to move Star Wars, the new direction they were going into, it fucking failed. Every time they stuck to where it should have been, it fucking worked. I'm going to wrap my initial impressions up. Where the fuck were the Bothans at?
The who?
Oh, thank you, Keith.
Where the fuck were the Bothans at?
The Bothan spies that died to get these plans.
Exactly. And that was the thing
exactly
they changed.
Said in the fucking, was it Return of the Jedi, right? Right.
And that one line that Mon Mothma had was like, many Bothans died for this information. Who the fuck was
not one damn Bothan to be seen. I was like, okay, where the Bothans at? Oh shit, no, what? No Bothans? See, that's the shit that pisses me off.
I think it was a good 1/3 of the movie.
Basically.
They named the movie terrible. It should have been renamed Suicide Squad. It reminded me of Platoon. Explosions everywhere. I still don't understand how come they didn't have any reference to lightsabers at this point.
I'm mad about the damn lightsabers.
I am mad about the lightsabers. Am I the only one that felt that Darth Vader had like osteoporosis and he was shorter?
Yo, his whole proportion was all fucking wrong. Like Ben Mendelsohn. He's not a very tall guy. Darth Vader's supposed to be close to 7 feet.
Right.
Like
7.
the last actor who played him was like
He was like
6'10".
6'8". Yeah, 6'8", 6'10",
He was
something like that. It
like
was
6'8",
David
6'10", and
Prowse.
he even had lifts in his shoes. So he was tall as shit.
Yeah.
This dude came up to Darth Vader's shoulder. He should have came up to his damn belly button or something.
But this is how I felt about the movie.
All right.
The beginning of the movie moved too quickly, way too quickly, for some very random reason. I felt as if I was watching Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yes.
Benedict Cumberbatch's character is bad. We need to go find him. And next thing you know, it jumps from a planet, and then they show up on Earth. They jump to another planet. They go to the Klingon planet, and that's like
planet jumping. That's what it
that's
was.
the
First 20 minutes was planet jumping.
Yeah. So I felt that the beginning was melodramatic, and then Jen's story arc is like really shaky. And my biggest gripe with this, is that there are 4 writers on this movie. 4.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the best story they could come up with.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best story that they could come up with.
There is such a deep
hold on.
history regarding this franchise, and this is it?
I have one more big gripe. Why is Forrest Whitaker in this movie?
I will tell you. That is another gripe of mine. If you want to know, I will tell you. But
Forrest Whitaker is terrible. Why is he Immortan Joe with a breathing apparatus in Star Wars? Like,
see, I thought that too. I'm like, what's wrong with him? Like, he seemed like he was fine in the beginning. I'm like, is he gonna have a bigger role? Then he came back. He's a broke down store version of Vader. Keith, what do you think of Felicity Jones as Jen Erso?
I thought any other actress in the world could have played that character with probably as much emotion and acting talent as she did in this character. Her character was weak anyway, so it was like not much to go on in that case. But she was pretty lame. Character was lame, and I honestly don't understand any point because all there was her trying to find her father, and then like that's it. Like what's the goddamn point?
What about you? So
She was a soulless character. She would have been better represented if they used a droid in her case. She had no connection with any other character in there.
I'm not even mad at you. I'm not even mad at you. What about Barry?
Eventually, I got a big Jennifer Lawrence vibe from her performance.
Jennifer Lawrence? She couldn't even hold her jockstrap.
No, what
I'm
saying, I'm talking about
the whole Hunger Game shit.
I'm just going to sit here and pout. I know more than everybody else. Thought that she was okay. Anyone could have played this role.
I could have played the role.
Now, personally, what I thought it was cardboard. I didn't really give a damn about her. Like, I didn't feel no sympathy for her for nothing. So what? Get over it. Like,
I was like, your daddy died? What?
Again, that whole story arc is shaky for her.
Right. And there was no attachment there for me. Like, if she
and the Forrest Whitaker angle in that is also shaky.
Right. It was not good storytelling at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Not in the least. Like, first of all, I absolutely hate story progression from a character doing something stupid. But her mother goes running out there with 6 stormtroopers?
Yeah.
Yep.
And Mr. Whitecape. He runs out there with one rinky-dink blaster, leaves her daughter behind to go save her. And apparently they planned for this. This is a whole huge plan. Why didn't you follow it?
And on top of that, like, why after they kill the mother, that they're like, get the child. I'm like, you have the person that you need. Take off.
It didn't work for him.
I'm just talking from a story perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it was
to get him to work.
It was poor storytelling. Keith, you and I discussed this whole storytelling in Star Wars like the last time, man. We talked about it privately. It was just storytelling is just fucking off. Her character to me was just there. I didn't feel no attachment to her. I didn't really care about her storyline progression or anything. Like she was just happening.
I honestly want to see Gareth Edwards' original cut for this movie. Because I mean, I'm guessing that the reshoots like really fucked the story up. I mean, it felt disjointed as shit. Once they started getting to the action and the kind of war scenario, and they got to that planet to get the Death Star plans, it started to come together. It felt like.
But how far was that to the movie, though? Keith?
Well,
you know
hold on.
Shit.
The second half of this movie is totally different, and is a better movie than the first half. And I understand they need to set up the whole angle for what needs to happen, but the second half of this movie is a great movie. The first half of it is a mediocre
bore fest, man.
Yeah.
I'll say the last third.
I mean, her character, like when I first heard about this movie, I was like, you guys know, I was 110% behind this. I was like, yes, tell the untold stories. And this is one of those untold stories that they need to tell. And we get this.
Not a lot of people are into Star Wars, but if you just watch the movie for what it is and for what it's done, it's a very important movie and just in cinema, period. And if for them to come out with this bullshit, with this fucking movie, I was hoping for something better. But let's stay on track here. All right, so what do you guys think of Diego Luna as Cassian Andor?
I would say that Pedro Pascal would have been a better choice.
He would have been fucking epic.
The beginning, I didn't really understand what was going on with this character because he's killing people that are a part of the resistance. And I'm like, why? Why is this even necessary? And then trying to run away from it. But somebody else can go.
Like,
yeah, I didn't understand that either.
Guy was saying that I can't escape with my leg like this. So he says, okay, and just shot him. Shot him in the back. And so that he wouldn't be captured by the Empire and talk. Now, considering the fact that Star Wars is originally for like 10-year-olds and, preteens and stuff, are they going to understand that little nuance?
That's the only positive I have, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I thought that the character Cassian Andor, every character in here. I mean, there were some characters that I thought was kind of cool, and I wish they probably would have went a little bit more in depth with, but he was not one of them. I was not impressed with him. There was nothing there for me to actually attach myself to him. I was just like, yeah.
And I also didn't like the fake love angle towards like the last scene.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
It was just you have to have that in Star Wars just for fan service stuff.
Who the fuck does that?
Well, what fans? Like,
they do.
Love story.
The teeny boppers, the one that have to have, that was the only connection, close to connection or emotion that she displayed was towards the end when they were about to die. And even then, they was very weak.
It was very weak.
Yeah,
it didn't need to be happening either, considering the fact
it was very cliche as well.
And the whole attraction thing and stuff. I'm like, what the fuck, man? And then he grows distance because he was afraid. And then apparently he decided not to kill her father. I mean, he just met the chick.
Right, man. I would have shot that motherfucker like it was nobody's business.
He's shooting dudes in the back because they might talk about what they would do.
That's what I would have been like.
No point. No, absolutely no point. I thought he was a weak character. I thought his character sucked. And he's taking on the sniper configuration, which means he's going to kill someone. And it's like,
why is there even that line in that movie?
I was actually pissed at that. But that character was just cardboard. Like I said, there weren't any characters in this movie that I could say that I was like, damn, there's some characters I liked. And we're going to use that to segue into the discussion about the other characters, the side characters. So what did you guys think of Donnie Yen? And his character was Sharut Imwe?
I did not want his character to be like that in this movie.
Barry, I got to give you credit. You called it. You called it like shit. And I remember you saying that, and I was like, nah, man, no, they ain't going to do that.
I did not want a character to walk around acting like he's reading off the back of a fortune cookie. I did not want that.
That's exactly what the fuck was happening.
It's like, the Force
it's like
says,
the Jar Jar Binks analogy.
Like the Force says, if you do this, then something positive will happen. I'm like, no. You have Donnie Yen, who is a well-respected martial artist and actor. If you see something like Ip Man 1 and 2, he's great acting, and this is the best you can do with him. Very stereotypical role.
Why is he blind?
And why is he blind? Why is he blind? Why is that even necessary?
There was no purpose for him to be blind. And the thing is, stereotypical role, that pissed me off. I love Donnie Yen. He's great. He's a great martial artist. He's a great action star. He's a great actor. That's my man. He still could have been the same role. Just take away all that Confucius, I'm with the forces with me, and all this other crap. It's like, okay, you can say that twice.
How many times did he have to say that?
Movie.
He did provide comic relief, but I thought he was more of a comic relief character than actual character that contributed to the story.
Agreed.
The stereotypical part of it. Fortune cookies, you guys hit it on the head. I just think that. What?
I agree. Right. I was so.
I think as far as depth, I think he could have had more to the plot. Considering that this is a Star Wars movie and he talked about the Force, that they didn't open that up. This was more of like a Platoon type movie with a Star Wars theme. Mm-hmm. Nothing, the battle scenes were fine and all, but Donnie Yen, they took away a lot of potential that his character could have had.
Anyone else think that The whole talk about Jyn Erso's crystal that she was going to give it to Donnie Yen. I figured he was going to pop it into his staff and whip out a lightsaber. I mean,
That would have been
I'd have
kick
blown my
ass.
shit. I'd have blown my mind. I was like, oh, fucking thank you.
But you know what? See, Keith, what you just said there would have made this a lot better movie. Not because of a Jedi being involved, but you know what? I actually thought that Donnie Yen's character was a Jedi in hiding because not all the Jedi died. And
That's what I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking. No, he wasn't.
That would have been
He was
awesome.
Guardians of the Jedi Temple. The crystals that the Death Star uses are the same crystals that the Jedi use to power their lightsabers. Okay, cool. Got it.
Retconning.
Donnie Yen could have been a Jedi in
would-
hiding.
It would have made perfect sense. It
Would have made perfect sense. He whips out a lightsaber at the end. He's blind. He was in war. He's in hiding. He drops down, and then he could have got killed by the stormtroopers, or Darth Vader could just did an airdrop on his ass and just like skewered him. But either way, he'd have gone out like a better G than he did in this fucking movie.
He's supposed to be a practitioner of the Force, but yet this motherfucker decides he wants to go out in the middle of gunfire. You believe the Force that much? Why didn't you use the Force to try to turn that damn switch? Huh? Someone please explain that to me.
Because he's
Okay, I'll
not.
explain it to you.
He might not be Force sensitive.
No, that was bullshit. And I'm gonna tell you right now. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
In essence, well, he was basically a priest that worshiped the Force as a religion. I mean,
He winds up trying to be like a Obi-Wan.
Oh, it was terrible.
Slightly, I'm talking about the philosophical aspect of Obi-Wan and not the fake father figure, but that's what it tries to be.
Right.
It tries to be that balance, like, well, you have to have somebody believe, and like, all right, that's great.
See, the thing
not
is,
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen could actually do that, though. He could pull that off very well, but I think the way that it was written, it was just poor. But the thing is, I did like his character. I think because I like Donnie Yen, so maybe I'm a little bit biased.
Yes, I would say that you're a little bit biased because you watched
Just a little bit.
No, I like this
movies.
character as well, but only up until he got, I realized he wasn't gonna pull out a lightsaber and like defend himself.
Right.
The thing was, he was pulling up stuff. He was like, "Hey, that necklace you're wearing is amazing." I'm like, "Well, what the fuck, man?" So he can sense shit through like, how's he doing? Oh no, I'm not a Jedi. And the movie made every attempt to prove that he wasn't what he was, but he was something mysterious. And then at the very end, he goes out, and you're like, he was just a regular guy. Well, not regular. He had some. He may have been something more. Blah blah blah. And it's just
we
like,
would never know now.
you would never know. You would never know. It's kind of like, well, why the fuck wasn't he, like, how was he doing these amazing things? And it's kind of like, that's one of the mysteries of Star Wars. It's like,
well, let me just say this. If you're going to make a one-note character, like Donnie Yen's character, that he's only going to show up in one movie, make him the greatest person ever.
Yep.
His role is ultimately forgettable if you move on to another movie after this one.
Right. So right now, his character is memorable because of that damn line. That's it.
Yeah. They kind of Jar Jar Binks him. I mean, he's known because he was that mis-talking idiot character with those ridiculous lines of his.
You're not showcased well in this movie. Your role is ultimately forgettable. There's no point for Donnie Yen to be in this movie.
All right. So what do y'all think about Alan Tudyk as K2SO?
He is the best thing about this movie.
He's beautiful.
Yes, he did a great job. I enjoyed him. He did make the movie a little bit more tolerable for me.
You know what? Of all the characters in this fucked up movie, his was the most developed. Because he started out as, he didn't have a filter. He said whatever came to his mind. So his character was the most unchanged in the cuts between the directors. Because, you all know about the reshoots and that they re-edited the movie. I mean, I don't think Gareth Edwards actually edited the final piece.
I want to say it might have been John Gilroy, because Tony Gilroy is one of the writers, and generally they work together.
They didn't like it. Apparently, Disney thought it didn't have enough heart. So it was oddly enough the most fleshed out of the characters. And, especially at the end when he was kind of like, it wasn't that he was just sacrificing himself because he believes that he's programmed to help the humans. It was flat out, this is the mission, I got to accomplish it. You guys are the best way to accomplish it. And I'm going to stay here and go out. You saw the moment when that character changed in everyone else's perception. Jen gives him the blaster at the end, says cover us, and he's like, oh, now you trust me. And Cassian kind of becomes less of the I'm all about the mission and I'll do whatever I can because I've done evil things, blah blah blah. And it's sort of like towards that end that's when it kind of came about that character kind of fleshed out a little bit more. The character worked. It wasn't a MacGuffin that kind of popped in, saved the day, and then like kind of went out basically how you expect. You saw it happen. I actually felt bad when he went out.
You know what? I'm going to piggyback on that. This is the only character that I could say that I actually enjoyed. I felt some attachment to. So when he took the huge L, I felt that. There was character progression with him and his interaction with other characters as well. So, and I gotta agree with you. He was the most fleshed out character out of all the main characters. And to me, that's fucking sad. I mean, you would not expect a side character or a droid to be the most fleshed out or human character out of all the main characters. I mean, he felt more of a person to me than the main character.
I was actually sad when he died. I think out of all the characters in the movie, that's the one that I had an attachment to per se. Because everyone else, they were just there. It was telling a story. It wasn't very in depth as far as like how it relates.
I would have preferred that his character survived.
Either way, when he died, I was like, oh, okay. That was it. That's when the movie stopped for me until we went to the last like 5 minutes, and then that was when I started getting engaged again.
All right, so we're gonna talk about Mads Mikkelsen. He played Galen Erso.
Well, let me start that one off.
Yeah, go ahead, Barry.
And then go to Keith, because Keith probably has a lot to say about Mads Mikkelsen. But Mads Mikkelsen is a very great actor, and he is only in this movie for 5 scenes. And one of those 5 scenes, he is a hologram. I'm done.
I find that the use of Mr. Mikkelsen in this movie was insulting to his acting talent.
Oh, did you call him Mr. Mikkelsen, or did you say Matt?
No, you guys need to watch the Hannibal TV series, all right? Then you will be giving him the respect he's due.
No, hey, I respect him because I know he's a good actor.
He is great as Le Chiffre in Casino Royale.
Right, he's in Casino Royale.
He's excellent. He's a great actor, and his character was sadly enough more interesting than the main character, than Jane Erso's character, Jyn Erso, than his daughter.
Jyn Erso's father. That's what we talk about.
He was a father. Like, here we go with a guy who is left the Empire. This is the character story. He had a family within the Empire. After the Purge, when the Empire took over, he became a scientist with dreams and aspirations within the Empire, left it because he didn't like what he was seeing.
Hold on.
They're out there, and he goes to someplace quiet, and they begin building the Death Star, this super weapon. He doesn't want them to find it. He develops a plan to stop it and does all this stuff. So he's the one who originally put in the flaw in the Death Star design.
And that was a weak flaw.
No.
Because it's based off of his daughter calling her Stardust.
Well, no, that the plan for where it was, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Barry and Keith, that they did not use him to his full potential. Same way as they did for Donnie Yen. Same way they did with Donnie Yen. They didn't use him to his full potential either. They had so many characters and side characters, I guess time was limited. I mean, they should have used him to his full potential, and it would have been a way better movie if he had more of a role in this.
I would have preferred him to be the villain. Even though that is cliche for him, because he plays villains in certain movies, i.e. Doctor Strange. But he would have been better utilized as a villain.
He would have been believable.
Yeah.
He would have been believable. Like, I would have been somewhat...
I would have hated him. He had the look.
Right. Exactly. I would have been, I'm not going to say afraid, but I would know that he was about business. Now, since we're talking about the main villain, we're going to go ahead and segue right to that. All right. So what do you guys think of Ben Mendelsohn? And he was the main villain, Orson Krennic. What y'all think about him?
Forgetful.
Very forgetful.
I got to disagree on that.
You disagree or agree?
Hold on. He is no different than any other person they throw in that role. He is supposed to be bad because he believes in the Empire and all this other stuff. And the same thing happens in every other movie to everyone else that plays that same role.
He's equivalent to that robot that could handle multiple lightsabers.
General Grievous.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how I viewed him. I'm like, okay, he's just a guy. He's not the guy. He's just a guy.
He is middle management.
In the movie, in the hierarchy, he was supposed to be the big bad Mamma Jamma. He was just.
He is middle management.
No, I disagree.
No,
I have to disagree.
Well, you're alone on this, Keith, because I agree with.
I'll disagree. I'll explain why I disagree. So I think part of the reason why this movie kind of like irked me a lot was that it told a very one-sided story. Clearly, it feels like the original cuts of the movie and what they were doing and the original scenes they were doing hinted at a much larger, like telling both sides of how the Death Star was built. Director Krennic wasn't just building a Death Star. He was building his own career. This is the first time I've seen someone look at this in Star Wars. The first someone within the Empire, because these are the bad guys. They're just the Empire. They're out for power. They're out to do whatever they want. This is a guy who was looking for promotion within the Empire
Keith,
and was willing to do anything to do it.
Can I cut you off for a second? So I've been watching. But I've been watching The Man in the High Castle. Ben Mendelsohn's character is John Smith. Go ahead, Keith.
I'm saying that, and you know what? You actually hit upon something else. So the problem with that, with the thing with the Man in the High Castle, was that character was fleshed out. You had enough of him to understand the motivation. It wasn't just some faceless, nameless enemy. Like, it was clear there was something more going on with that character. Like his beef with Tarkin. Then he decides to go around Tarkin when he didn't get his way. He went directly to Darth Vader to get an intro to the Emperor, so he can say that this is my thing. This is me. I'm doing this. Will you please take it to the Emperor? His reason for going to the planet was to secure the plans and make sure that everything was okay based off of what Gallner also did. Despite the fact that the movie overall tried to simplify the whole plot, like there was a level of complexity. His reasons for going there were not stupid or out of place. He was going there saving his own ass and securing his own future within the Empire.
Yeah.
And it's kind of and he's middle management. He's middle management within that, and he got made aware of that. He had other people who are his superiors who were above him literally take the credit for his work. He gets into a huff and decides to go to Darth Vader. It's kind of like he was doing these things like what a middle manager would do, except for like instead of going to the executive behind HR, he's going to Darth fucking Vader to say, well, he got treated the way you expected him to get treated. He got choked the fuck out.
That is not what you want to do.
Exactly. He was going, oh, that's not a good idea. And then he comes in there, James Earl Jones delivers some badass lines like, yeah, this is not.
He is getting a little bit long in the tooth. You can hear it in his voice.
Irritated.
That's fine. Not old.
I mean, he still sound good, but you can tell it's an older voice.
I don't care. It was perfect.
It was just seasoned.
It was perfect.
It wasn't Revenge of the Sith good.
Tarkin told him like, blah blah blah. I'm taking control. This is mine now, bitch. And then he said, "Fuck this! I'm going to go see somebody else." So he goes to Darth fucking Vader. He says,
"You know what? You got to admit that was ballsy."
Exactly. He was a guy trying to keep his fucking job and probably try to eke out a promotion. So I mean, it was like, okay, I like that. I kind of like that kind of feel. It's not so much the good versus evil. It's this dick
survival of the fittest.
Trying to get a promotion out of the whole
thing. He was trying to survive, basically, because if he got demoted, that probably would have been it.
Krennic was the inroad, and Galen Orso was the inroads into the Empire side of things. And I thought the Empire side of things was a lot more interesting, and then the Rebellion side of things, which proved to be hideously disappointing and just downright sad. But and we can talk about that in a minute.
All right. So what I thought about the character, Ben Mendelsohn's character, I thought that he was just, I mean, like I said, I had no attachment to any of the characters except for the damn droid.
He is generic bad guy.
How the fuck is he a generic bad guy?
And the thing about it, he's generic
because you could have replaced him with anybody, and
that role has been
not like that role was actually made for him.
That role has been in other Star Wars movies with lesser actors.
Not even that.
How the fuck? None of those Star Wars characters in the film.
Not even that. I didn't feel that he was a villain.
No, he was like a spoiled stepchild. Let me put it that way. That's how he was.
Exactly.
With red hair, not blonde hair, with red hair. He was.
Have you seen that before in a Star Wars movie? Have you seen that kind of spoiled type of like, this is my thing, I want this?
Kylo Ren, man. What the fuck you talking about?
Episode 7.
Kylo Ren,
man. But we ain't gonna discuss that piece of shit. All right, we ain't gonna discuss that clown character. All right.
Domhnall Gleeson's character in Episode 7.
Who?
Domhnall Gleeson's character in Episode 7.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, same. Yep.
Nah, he was more or less like a.
I have already destroyed your theory, Keith. Let's move on.
Nah, he was. Fuck you, yo. Look, you know what? I'm tired of your shit.
You've
Yo.
been owned.
First of all, you're wrong. No. I don't buy it. The Kylo Ren part, yes.
Keith, you know what? I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna ask you some questions. All right.
Go ahead.
When you first saw the first Star Wars, who was the main villain?
Darth Vader.
All right. When you saw the second Star Wars, who was the main villain?
You felt it was a little more larger than just. It wasn't just Darth Vader, but
you know the Emperor was always around.
yes,
right?
yeah,
So the Emperor was around in the first Star Wars, the very first Star Wars. But did you even know? Because you know why? Because Vader had such a presence of a villain that you was like, fuck that. If Darth Vader is this damn bad, just imagine how the fucking Emperor is. With this, did you feel that way about him? Did you feel that way that anyone like? I felt that he was basically a little bit above a stormtrooper. I wasn't intimidated by it. Vader intimidated me to the point that I was like, if Vader is this bad and he bows down to the Emperor must be the baddest motherfucker in the galaxy.
Yep.
This guy, I'm just like, man, I would slap you in the middle of the street and not care. Like, he was not intimidating to me. That's what I'm saying. He's just a character that was like, he's generic. He could have been played by anyone. He did not give a good performance to me to be that much of a badass.
See?
He wasn't badass enough for me to consider.
Okay, you're looking for badass. I saw a guy who was dangerous because
I saw a guy that was desperate.
Exactly, his desperation to keep his position and more and to get ahead.
Keith, the worst thing that he does in the movie is orders Galen Erso's wife to die.
That's the most gangster shit he does.
Can we move on?
Yeah, we're moving on. All right, guys. So, do you think this movie was even worth making?
No.
After the fact, no, not at all. That story about no.
The Star Wars cartoons that have come out since the Clone Wars and whatever else are better than this movie.
You know what's funny about that? Because I agree. I don't think this movie was worth making. They could have made this like straight to TV, but
because there was supposed to be a Star Wars TV show at some point.
Right,
yes.
something like that. You could have made this an animated movie like they did Clone Wars or something like that. It was just not. I didn't feel it at all.
And this is a Star Wars Christmas special.
Okay, you're saying this movie, the movie we saw, was even worth making. Like I say that the Rogue One I would have wanted would have been a much different movie. The last third of the movie I thought was good, and that was worth seeing.
So okay, I see what you're saying. The movie, like the idea was worth making, but the way they did it was not worth making.
The execution was fucked.
Yes. Okay. You know what? I changed my statement. I agree with you. That the idea of it, the whole background behind getting the Death Star. The Death Star. The Death Star.
That was a story that needed to be told. And that is what I'm hoping to see. And
that's what that needed to be told. But the way they told it was fucked up.
This movie is nothing but Disney greed.
Right.
I feel, and another side to that is that I think that Kathleen Kennedy, she needs to go. After seeing the editing jobs, the reshoots, the reruns, and everything, they need someone else running this franchise.
You know, I was expecting a little bit more from Star Wars because Star Wars, it has that history, it has that background, it has so much
material. Oh, but let me interject on that to key off of what Matt just said. It did have all that stuff. It had tons of Easter eggs, but it was like that tongue-in-cheek type of thing. Was like, I'm going to find the person. Yes, I'm going to find the person I would trust more than anything in the whole world. And you're like, Obi-Wan and Princess Leia. You're like, oh, for fuck's sakes. It's like,
and hold on. Had it been, was there like a Obi-Wan rock formation?
Obi-Wan reference.
Yeah, between Anna and
Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
But why couldn't he be in there?
But again, I compared this movie to Star Trek Into Darkness, and that's ultimately how I felt about this movie. You already know what's going to happen.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The way it plays out on the screen, I saw it. Okay. We can move on.
So, since Disney's is doing a series of Star Wars side stories, after seeing this movie, how do you think they're going to plan out? Yeah, the Han Solo movie, how do you think that one's
That's going to be a shit
That's going to be terrible because it's going to be blasters again.
Yeah, you just
all blasters, no lightsabers. And then I'll be disappointed. And then I'm going to give another crappy score to another Star Wars movie.
I mean, they're not going to have any more Jedi Center movies again, except for with the episode 8 and 9.
And that makes me worried about those movies as well. That
you should be worried about this movie after episode 7. The fuck?
Well,
worried after 6.
I'm concerned about anything Star Wars after this. I'm starting to get a little bit of franchise fatigue.
Yeah.
Particularly after seeing Fantastic Beasts movie. Eventually, even with like The Hobbit, you've seen so many movies, you know what's going to happen. Seeing what's going to come before that, just so they can make money off of movie tickets, doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Like, I'm not looking forward to the Han Solo movie, but I am going to check it out because I do want to see how Donald Glover does as Han Solo.
He's playing Lando Calrissian.
Lando Calrissian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you play Han Solo. That's some diversity Marvel type shit.
No, I'm just curious to see how he does. But after seeing this, I'm not looking. I don't know, man. Like this just further.
James, you are the most ardent Star Wars fan I know. To hear you say that, James, is sad because I know how much you like Star Wars.
I don't know. Like I'm losing faith in it. I'm just kind of not like just interested in it anymore. Like episode 7 kind of did it for me. All right, so we discussed how we felt about this movie. So now we're going to go into closing thoughts and our score. So Keith, I'm gonna start with you since it seemed like you have a lot to say. So Keith,
I went into this movie expecting greatness.
Greatness.
I was expecting greatness. I was expecting a Star Wars story. I wasn't anticipating any Jedi or anything like that, but it would have been cool to see. I was excited for the casting. I watched this movie with its flashbacks, the lack of the little scroll-up scenes. I immediately knew that we were going to get something weird, and we were going to get something that was not traditional to a staple of the Star Wars universe, and I was open-minded to that, but was literally every little point. It felt like it was made by people who didn't give a shit about the series. They saw profit and they saw ways of interjecting their own method of doing things. It was like they were literally trying to erase what George Lucas has done. They called Grand Moff Tarkin Governor Tarkin, and I'm just like, it kept saying it, and I'm like, the title is called Grand Moff. I mean, what's wrong with just using that? That wasn't as horrendously bad as like that Tarkin CGI looked like shit, but whatever. I let that pass. The movie didn't get good until we got past all that crazy, tonally out of whack first 2/3 of the movie. Once we got to the point where, you know, they got to the actual mission and got out of there and got away from that whole stupid Rebel Alliance meeting where all decided to quit, then it was the movie got better. But at that point, I didn't give a shit. You know, Darth Vader was the only highlight. The part where he came in and choked out Director Krennic, who I thought was an asshole, and you know, pretty much that's what the character was supposed to be. I thought it was a hot mess of a movie. It was all over the fucking place. It was clear that they didn't have a unified direction with it. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do with Star Wars moving forward. I know that Episode 8 and 9 are gonna be shit. I just have a solid feeling that they're going to be crap because I hate the direction to it. I hate the fact that this movie is going to make $1 billion, and that's what they're going to do forever. They're going to do movies just like this forever because for whatever reason, people are loving these damn movies, are loving the direction that they're going into, and these movies are so fucking. This is just bad storytelling.
This is worse than any generic Marvel story.
Episode 7 was better than this movie. And that is fucked up.
I might have to disagree with that.
I was about to say
Episode 7 is better than this movie?
Yes, Episode 7. Darth Vader could not save this movie. Afterwards, I was just like, I'm done. This was bad. But for me, being a Star Wars fan since day one, I give it a 6. Only because Darth Vader popped in and he started fucking shit up and made it worthwhile.
All right, Matt.
I'll go with a 6 as well. The reason why I went with a 6 is broke the movies down in thirds. The last third was, for the most part, almost perfect, but the rest of it was terrible. So I'll go with a 6 as well.
All right, Barry.
Again, I had some issues with the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw this movie in 3D, which was not a good experience.
No, it wasn't.
Some of the CG was pretty bad at times. I'm also still...
Oh gosh, was it?
Yeah.
Tarkin.
I'm also still upset at Donnie Yen's character. They could have done so much more with that.
Yep.
So I stand by my comment about K2 and Riz Ahmed probably being the only positives about this movie.
I'm with you on that.
The second half of this movie is much better than the first half. That
Agreed.
It is still 2 different movies. So what Keith was saying about the editing and reshoots, things like that, there were 3 editors. John Gilroy is one of the editors. So I think that also plays a role into how this movie turns out. And I also feel that this next crop of Star Wars movies, starting with Episode 7 on, have gotten a little too fan servicey.
Exactly.
It's like, well, you have to have these Easter eggs, you have to have this. And I want a very solid concise Star Wars movie. And this movie is not it. And for that movie gets a 6.
All right. This movie put me to sleep for the first 30 minutes. I was in there dozing off. I had to actually play on my phone. That's why I was even texting y'all just to keep myself up.
God damn, you were in the movie when you were texting us. That's not good at all.
So I was watching this movie. I was just not interested in it at all. Not because there wasn't a Jedi in it. I didn't feel it. When I did start to get into it, I was already mentally checked out. I think I started getting into it maybe, like I said, like everyone said, the second half, the last third of the movie, when they actually started getting into some real shit. After a while, I mean, even then, it didn't really pick up until Vader showed up. And that was the last 10, 15 minutes of the movie. At that point, I mean, you can tell there's totally two different movies. And that's what's sad. It's you cannot have 4 writers on a movie because you're going to have so many different directions. You need to just maybe have 2 at the most. If you have 4 writers on one movie, most likely that's a horrible sign. There's going to be so many different directions that this movie's trying to go. And they're just trying to somehow, some way get on the same road. And they did not do that very well in this at all. I hated the whole fake me out love angle at the end between Felicity Jones' character and Diego Luna's character. It seemed too forced. It was overall bad. Forrest Whitaker was just there to get a paycheck.
Hello, Jeeves.
In my eyes, I give it a 4.5.
4.5? So you're saying that this movie was worse than X-Men Apocalypse?
Yes.
Really? What the
This
movie? I
movie.
can actually watch this movie again. I can't watch.
I can't watch this movie again.
I can't watch X-Men Apocalypse.
I would say that X-Men Apocalypse is worse than this movie.
Yeah.
I can sit down and watch this movie.
I guess you all disagree with me. I never fell asleep in a movie. Okay, never. And I never fall asleep on a Star Wars movie. I fell asleep on this shit. I was wide awake. I wasn't tired. And I fell asleep on this shit. So I gave it a 4. What did I say? 4.5. I give it a 4.5. That's it. That's my score. All right, so guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. That's been the Beast Game Podcast. You can find more of our podcast at beastgame.com, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also find myself gaming on Twitch at JO7811. This movie sucked. I'm sorry.